Well, it's been a minute.
It has been a minute. It's been a hot minute, as the kids used to say.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute, as kids used to say. That's true. But this is Thursday night, and this is Loot Shooter Weekly. I'm Gamer Tag Burt Reynolds, and with me, as usual, the one and only Golden Voice of Gaming, Negan Killjoy, ladies and gentlemen.
I can't emote. I can't emote. Oh no, I'm broken. That's how long it's been. Can't even emote right away. There we go. And hello, boys and girls.
There it is.
There it is. There it is. How's Burt doing tonight?
I'm doing well, Negan. How about yourself?
Doing okay, man. You know, like we talked about, we always say it's Thursday, which means tomorrow's Friday, which means weekend, although I am in the middle of a fracking heat wave, like 100 plus in the last 3 days.
Oof.
And yesterday, today, and tomorrow will all be 100 plus, so I gotta find the right beers to drink over the weekend when it's nice and hot outside.
Yes, you do.
Eesh.
This is Friday night for me. I'm off tomorrow, so...
Oh, nice. Off for business or pleasure, or are you taking... I just scored tomorrow off.
We have a half day tomorrow, but I took the morning off. We're going to a botanical garden tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
So
nice. The whole family?
Yeah. Yeah, and my parents. Yeah.
Wow.
Little
An excursion, as they say.
An excursion, yes. We are going to the Chicago Botanical Gardens on a little excursion. So
clearly
tonight
not 100 plus where you're at.
Well, it's going to be close. I think 98 tomorrow, actually. So we're going to be getting...
Going to go to the gardens where they probably have a lot of like water going, so a little humidity going for you. Oh, you're going to have a hell of a time.
Yeah. we're in the middle of a drought. But we are actually. We're in the middle of I think the worst drought I can remember. But I like it hot, man. You know me. Mm-hmm. I'm always cold. So I was outside the night in the sweater and it's 88 degrees. So
dang,
that gives you a good picture. I like it hot.
Yes, you do. That's right.
I like it hot, which is why I usually play with Moze, because I like getting blasted in the face by my own fire. Yes, and we are going to talk about a Moze build tonight. We are going to do a Moze build, but as you very aptly noted, I am currently not on Moze. It doesn't make any sense. No logical sense.
Sometimes the obvious does. I do catch the obvious, and you're not currently on Moze, so I was pretty happy catching that obviousness there. So.
I'm not currently on Moze. I'm currently on my 1.21 gigawatt Amara build. Okay. Because before we get into the Moze build, we're going to talk about some gun buffs. And some of the guns that got buffed are not really Moze guns. They're better guns for Amara or Zane or Flak. And
right.
I chose to display a couple of them on Amara. So we're going to talk about those. We're also going to talk about some of the gun buffs on Moze as well. But before we go there, I mean, since it is hot, and since it's been like 8 weeks since I think we streamed.
I don't know if it's been 8, but it's been a while. It has been a while. For sure.
Six. I mean, yeah. It's been a hot minute. I'm interested to know what you're going to drink tonight.
I'm glad you asked, because it is important that we get to that soon, because it is super hot out here. I'm looking forward to this beer.
Yeah.
This beer is actually from Three Creeks Brewing. It's out of Sisters, Oregon, which is in the middle part of Oregon. And it's called Three Creeks Brewing. It's called Three Arrows Mexican Lager. So they describe it as this easy drinking cerveza transports you south of the border. Pilsner malt and Saaz hops create a clean, crisp, and refreshing lager, while traditional flaked maize adds just a touch of sweetness. Tres Arroyos is sure to please the most discerning palate. Salud. So I'm looking forward to this. And as we talked about before the stream, I am lately been on a Mexican lager kick, so this continues my Mexican lager kick. I'm looking for good, refreshing ones as they are. So we're looking forward to this one. And
that sounded refreshing when you cracked that open.
It does.
It did. It sounded refreshing.
It's a good sound. It's a good sound for summer right there. And it looks refreshing, and I will let you know at the end how it is. But what are you drinking tonight, my friend?
So I'm going with Midwest Coast's English Sporting Beer, which is an English-style pale ale done right, according to them.
Okay.
But it's Midwest Coast Brewing, and on the back it says a beer that tacks back and forth across oceans, preserving the freshness and the sport. Finding good spirit in every port, pouring one out for the old guard, the one with a lovely accent. And I'm hoping for like an ESB is what I'm hoping for, like English style bitters. So that was my hope in it. We'll see what happens with that. And Midwest Coast Brewing Company is here in Chicago, so they're a Chicago-based brewer. So I'll give that a roll. I'm gonna drink it straight from the can. And
my lord!
Yeah.
Oh my lord! Savage, it's too hot, man, for a can. I had to put an icy glass in. Cheers, my friend.
Cheers to you. Oh, it is. It is an English style bitter. That's good. Okay.
Got the important stuff out of the way now. Builds and guns and buffs, buffs and guns.
We got some. We got all the important stuff out of the way. Yeah. So several guns. It's been a week. I want to call this out. We could have streamed this last Thursday night because the guns got buffed last Thursday night. There were no gun buffs with today's update. And next week starts something I'm looking forward to a lot.
Yeah, that's right. Forgot about that.
Yeah, Joey Ultraviolet. So we'll be going back to the villa and doing that kind of. It's kind of like a little mini, almost like a strike type of thing. And of course, I'm sure that means the no pew pew and the OPQ system and all the other guns that come with that are coming back. Exactly. Yellow Cake. So I'll be excited to have those guns back, and we'll be excited because I actually just really enjoyed that content from the soundtrack to the.
It was really well
gameplay.
done. Yes,
so it's one of the more well done things, like expansions, I think ever in this game. And considering it's not technically an expansion but a limited time event, it's really well done.
Yes. I can't really put my finger on why it's so well done. I think it's just the overall package, the whole thing, like you said, the soundtrack, the feel to the villa and everything about that. I think it did a really good job of making it very consistent, very fun, and not terribly punishing.
You know me, like I love the 80s. I'm wearing a New Order t-shirt. I love the 80s, and it has that very 80s vibe to it, which
it does.
I thought was great, almost like a little Miami Vice. And yeah, even with the build I'm running, 1.1 gigawatt Amara. I mean, Back to the Future reference.
There you go.
The Moze build, we're going to look at a little bit of short Circuit Moze. Again, 80s film reference. So,
nice.
I'm never leaving the 80s behind, Negan. Never.
No matter what, you'll hold on to them to your dying breath, huh?
Holding on to it. So there's a whole slew of gun buffs last week, and we're not going to cover all of them. I've tried all of them, but I've picked out kind of what I would say are my favorites out of the group. And so we'll talk a little bit about them. We're going to start on this one. So this is my 1.21 gigawatt Amara, so a lot of electricity. One of the guns that got buffed was the Shredded Devil's Foursome, which I'll show that off. That's a torque pistol. As well, the Unkempt Herald, which we'll show you in a minute, that got buffed as well. Almost all, if not all, of the call weapons. So Lucian's Call, King's Call, Queen's Call, Rowan's Call, all of those guns got buffed. Now, the King's Call and the Queen's Call just got a buff to their critical hit damage, which is why I'm not going to show them. I found it a little underwhelming, if I'm totally honest about it. But the Rowan's Call and the Lucian's Call got big damage buffs. So they're a lot of fun. And then the Butcher, which is a shotgun, which I'll show you when we get over to the Moze build, that also got a buff. So, and there might be a color, the Seventh Sense got a buff, but that doesn't come with anointments. And I don't remember what else. I don't know. I tried all of them. I found a few favorites, and these are them. So we're going to show them to you. The reason, though, I'm going to start with Amara is, again, like, the Lucian's Call works okay on Moze. The Rowan's Call doesn't work great. I mean, it's not that you can't do it, but it does no splash damage. It's really much more suited to somebody like Zane or Amara, where you're, more consistently hitting crits. You can see what you're shooting at. You're not having to throw grenades all the time in order to maintain, your ammo. So we'll start there. And the Devil's Foursome, I'll show you on Moze why I can't run that gun on Moze and why it's better on Amara. But I'll save that little present for later.
Looking forward to that one. Looking forward to it.
So we're gonna go up here, and we're just, we love testing in this particular region on normal content, and obviously when we want to test in a takedown, we test in a takedown. But for just normal level content, this is one of my favorite zones to test in. And the Devil's Foursome, you can see it basically shoots multiple projectiles that converge out in the distance. The trick with this gun is getting your distance right. You can't get too close or those rounds they miss, and then it's not very effective. But it's very effective. See, I'm missing, so I gotta back up a little bit, and then all of a sudden it hits. And when it hits big. So that's that pistol, and it is a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. I'm gonna kill these guys, and then I will take this gun off, and I will put on the Unkempt Herald. Which, when the Unkempt Herald came out, I mean, quite honestly, that gun was viable even before the buff. So it wasn't like it needed a buff.
Right, you've included the Unkempt Herald in a couple builds as an alternate gun and stuff like that. So
yeah,
it's been a decent gun for the whole time.
Yeah, so it wasn't like absolute trash tier. It was like maybe a solid B or like high B or low A tier gun. And now they've just basically made it an S tier gun. It's putting out 90,000 damage because it's 30-something thousand times 3, and it just
deleted that guy.
It's like a delete button. So that's, kind of fun. It's still a little hard to control. It's got a lot of kick, but man, is it just like a delete button. So I think it's pretty fun. And it's splashy and...
Do you hip fire, or do you try to aim down sights on it?
I hip fire it most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Now this one I'm running with N2M Cryo. I could also be running it with 200 Splash, which would also, on this particular build, would be an excellent choice, since I'm basically always in ASE basically all the time. And did I bring one with 200 Splash on it? I think I did not. I have one in my vault with the 200 Splash. But yeah, I mean, N2M or 200 Splash. Now I'm gonna go into this next area, and I'm gonna use the Lucian's Call, which is a Vladov gun. It's the only call gun in the Vladov family, and you can see it's literally 2 Gatling guns chained together. It does about 11,000 damage per bullet. Has a ridiculously fast rate of fire. It's this one's running with consecutive hits. I don't have any N2Ms, or it does not do any splash damage, so of course I can't really do a splash damage. And so the consecutive hits is probably not the right anointment for me on this build, but it's the best I had for this particular one. This particular Amara build doesn't really need more gun damage. Sometimes Amara builds need more gun damage. This one in particular does not.
Yes, this is a good build. We went this one, actually one of our last streams was over this build that you're running right now. So
yeah,
if you're curious, go back to our previous videos and you'll see the stream and you'll talk about the build and stuff like that.
Yep, yeah, if you want to see what I've got going on there. But it really doesn't need gun damage. So part of why I think the Lucian's Call is really good, but it's not going to shine in this particular build. That said, I still have a lot of fun with it, and I just think it's a cool gun. It sounds cool, it looks cool. It's a lot of fun, and it is very strong, especially if you're fighting enemies with like a big crit spot that can take single point damage on said crit spot. Then it's very, very good.
So the next one, this would be a beast in like somebody like Grave Ward or something like that.
Grave Ward. Oh yeah. It's a beast on somebody like Grave Ward. The next gun I'm going to show off is actually the Rowan's Call, and of all the gun buffs that we got, I think this one's my favorite. I really genuinely think this one is my favorite. Now I'm running a shock one here because of the build, but this gun just it just disintegrates enemies. It's
And why?
extremely strong.
So you like it just because it's strong, or is there something specific about the way it works that you like about it?
I think the Jacobs machine guns, this one is like, I like it's got the Gatling crank on the side of it. I just think it's cool. I think it's cool. I think it's very accurate. It barely bounces around. It has almost no recoil in it whatsoever. It's easy to put and do crit damage. All right, Private Beans. You're going to get it. It's just a nice gun.
Wow, that is a nice gun. That was fast.
Yeah. So I like it, and again, great gun to show on Amara. This one, what do I have? What am I running on this one? I think this is next two mags have corrosive damage, so N2M corrosive on this, which is like the only element I think I don't automatically pick up in this build. So that's part of why it's working so well. Basically, when I'm using this gun, I'm getting every element. And so that's,
nice.
I mean, that's the guns I wanted to show off here on Amara. But of these ones, by far and away, my favorite is the Rowan's Call. I would seriously main it. Now, I will also say that, obviously on the Amara build when we showed it the first time, I was using the Becca, which is another Jacobs gun, and that is equally as strong. It might even be slightly stronger in some situations. It's also an excellent choice. But the Becca does not ever come in elemental damage.
Okay.
So this one, Rowan's Call, comes in shock. I think it's shock, corrosive, and radioactive, and the Lucian's Call comes in, I think it's incendiary, corrosive, and cryo. So they don't come in all the elements, but they come in some of the elements. And, just a good thing, because Amara does get magazine buffs on elemental guns. So, within her skill tree. So I get more bullets because it's elemental than I do with the Becca. But the Becca is also excellent.
Right. Well, good. Good. It gives you some more options. The buffs give you added a gun to your repertoire, so that's kind of nice.
Yes. Yeah. So now we're going to go have a little fun with Moze. So, and for this Moze, as I load in and get you loaded in, this Moze is a 1 HP. It's a no health Moze build. So it's giant shield. I think am I running deathless on this? Let me get you in here.
Yep, I'm loading it right now. Now, 1 HP builds, you do a lot of 1 HP builds with Moze. That seems to be almost, I want to say, the default build when you talk about Moze and you start doing builds and stuff like that. You seem to do a lot of 1 HPs with her.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of the reason for it is the 5150 is the easiest. It's the easiest place to use URAD in terms of survivability, because she's able to heal her shield. So that's probably why. I like, don't get me wrong, I like both Moze with health and without. But it's hard to beat that 5150 anointment for extra damage. Such a strong setup.
Hey, you're giving up 150% extra damage. It's difficult to do when you have an easy route to that. It totally makes sense. You want to keep it.
Yeah, and so that becomes a lot of it. That really does become a lot of it. So here I'm doing an Atom Bomb Deathless with this one, and the Deathless is what's going to get me to that 1 HP, and it's going to make my shield, rather giant. Ton of other ways you can do it. You can actually get down to 1 HP by running a front loader with 3 into thin red line. There's just a whole bunch. We've looked at all the different ways you can do it in other builds that I've done. But in this particular one, I'm running Deathless because I am, just like the Amara build, I am running the Revolter with action skill start on it. And I'll talk about the shield a little bit because I was running it. That's what made 1.1 gigawatt Amara so good. Basically, it has. This is what happens with the shield. On depleted, you become in shock and rage for 15 seconds. That is just code language for you get a 200% basically shock ASE in essence. So you pick up 200% shock damage for 15 seconds. Anytime the shield gets depleted. Well, but then I have the anointment on action skill start, activate any effects that trigger on shield break or fill. So basically, I'm in control of that. Anytime I start my action skill, I get the 200% shock buff. So, of course, it's very strong on Amara. It can be very strong on Zane. In fact, that shield is used in the most recent Moxie update to Chain Zane. It's just a very strong shield. But I got the thought, on Moze, you can get, in this case I am getting, 150% radiation damage all the time. And out of her skill tree, Moze gets a ton of splash damage, right? A ton of splash damage in her skill tree, which I have. When we look at the build, you'll see I'm picking up a lot of splash damage. And I have a lot of incendiary damage from the skill tree.
Nice,
I don't know exactly how much, but a lot. So wouldn't it be cool to have all of those things combined in one build? Moze is the only character I think that can really sustain that really well. Obviously, you can run your Gamma Burst Flak with 5150. That's how I run my Gamma Burst Flak. The problem is you're not activating your action skill very often in Flak because you pop up your pet and that activates your action skill. And hopefully, if your build's done right, your pet stays around quite a while. That's the whole point.
That's right. You run your pet as a defense mechanism and stuff like that as an aggressor for you.
Right. And that's how you're able to run a front loader is because everything's focused on your pet. But what that means is that you're going to run out of that 15 seconds of shock and rage all the time. So when I was putting this build together, I was like, well, I set out to build this actually as a bear cub build. But the bear cub stays up too long also.
Okay.
That didn't work.
You changed your mind. Didn't like how that ended up for you.
Yeah, I could not make it work. And the problem is you can't cancel the bear cub. So if you could cancel the bear cub, like blow the bear cub up, then it wouldn't be bad. You'd pop the bear cub up, blow the bear cub up, pop the bear cub up, blow the bear cub up. That would work. Can't do that. There's no mechanism to get rid of or, blow up your bear cub. So once you pop it up, it's just like your pet in a flak build. The bear cub's up until the timer runs out or the bear cub gets killed. In harder content, that happens somewhat frequently. The bear cub gets killed, but not every 15 seconds.
Right, exactly. And not something you can count on in a specific time frame either. So you always want to kind of have some stuff you can plan for as well.
Right. So then it becomes then no longer do you get the benefit of like I'm in control of when this happens. So I had to revise my thinking. Initially, I was like, "Well, I can't do it. It's not going to work." It's not true. What I ended up with is what I call a bear hopper build. Now, if you're not into bear hopping builds, then you can probably just, give up on this right now. It's a bear hopping build.
just look away. Just look away right now. We have some.
You can look away because
we have some fun stuff with Moze in a little bit after we talk about the build. But for right now, just look away. Chill out. We'll be right back.
Right, because you're going to be hopping in and out of your bear like constantly. But I have gotten it to the point where I've got basically 100% uptime on the action skill start, and I'm just hopping in and out of the bear a lot, which again that can get a little annoying, but if you get used to it, it's kind of nice. And if you put the right weapons on the bear actually, I've got auto bear, and the bear is actually kind of handy. So it's actually not too bad. So I'll
see what you got going here, buddy.
I'll show you the skill tree. And we'll look at that. So I always do my blue skill tree basically the same. 5 into Fire in the Skag Den, 3 into Grizzled, because Grizzled buffs short fuse, 3 into Means of Destruction. This gives me splash damage. Torque Cross Promotion. This gives me additional splash damage and splash damage radius. Pull the Holy Pin lets my grenades crit. Auto Bear, because again, I'm going to be hopping in and out of the bear all the time, and the extra damage from the bear is actually helpful. Vampire, I put 5 into this. I'm going to need the health restoration because I am running 1 HP. So I guess the other thing I should mention is if you don't like being in fight for your life on a pretty regular basis, you're probably also not going to like this build a lot. But the build has so much damage, getting out of fight for your life is very easy. And finally, I capstone this guy with short fuse. This gives basically whenever Moze deals gun damage, there's a chance of a secondary explosion. 20% chance, but with the amount of lead we're going to throw down range, it's a lot. And 50% of the gun damage is the damage of that explosion. Now, because it is a 1 HP build, I'm going to go down the red tree quite a ways. So I've got 5 into Armored Infantry. This gives me gun reduction and a damage reduction and gun damage bonus. Vladoff Ingenuity, this is going to give me shield recharge rate, shield size, and some shock damage resistance. In this case, it's very good that I'm getting some shock damage resistance because obviously it's going to be a lot of splashy shock damage in this case because of the fact that Moze deals a lot of splash damage, and I'm constantly adding 200% shock damage. Thin Red Line.
For Moze. Moze
making it very dangerous.
Very dangerous. I can see what's coming.
Yep. Thin Red Line. Here I'm 4 into this, only because I need to go down the skill tree further. And this gives you actually more shield than this does. So between the two, putting more into Thin Red Line gives you a bigger shield than putting more into Vladoff Ingenuity. And
you're also picking up some from your comm as well. Is that on purpose?
Yeah, I'm picking up some from my comm on purpose. So this is basically going to turn my health into shield, in essence. Drowning in Brass. This is going to give me a lower fire rate but a higher gun damage based on stacks. Experimental Musicians is going to give me some more incendiary damage. And finally, I'm way over cap here. I've got 3 into Desperate Measures plus the 3 from my comm, which gives me an additional 100% gun damage. So a lot of extra gun damage.
Yeah,
then I'm going to go down the... Yeah, yeah. It's nice, right? This build, you and I have run a takedown with this. We actually ran a takedown with this the same week we did the Amara build last, and we shredded through the Malawan takedown with this. I was down a lot, but I killed a lot of things too. So very, very deadly build. Cloud of Lead is going to give me incendiary damage and helps me not consume ammo. Stoke the Embers, again, more incendiary damage. So again, you can see this combination here, right? I've got a ton of radiation damage, a ton of shock damage, a ton of incendiary damage, and a ton of gun damage, as well as a ton of splash damage. I mean, this is a very, very damage-focused build. Redistribution is going to give me my ammo regen. 1 into Scrappy gives me a little bit more gun damage. This is really more about moving down the skill tree. Not that Scrappy's not good, but it means you have to be moving all the time to get any of the gun damage. It's a little conditional. It's not one of my favorite skills. Russian Offensive gives me some lifesteal. Scorching RPMs undoes the slowdown in fire rate that I'm getting from Drowning in Brass. It basically gives me back all of that fire rate so that I don't actually lose any. And then I've got 2 into 5 on the Iron Bank, which is going to give me some additional ammo. I would have put more into this. Normally I like to put 5 into this. However, I did not have the ability to do so because I had run out of skills. I could have also put some stuff in over here in purple, but I decided to just stick with these trees because the 2 into, like, I am going to have ammo issues with this build on certain guns. Basically is what's going to happen. If I don't deal enough splash damage, I am going to run into ammo issues. So I did put the 2 into Iron Bank just to increase that mag size a little bit.
So what would you have done, just out of curiosity, on the purple tree? What would the purple tree bring to the party?
I would have put probably either biofuel, which gives me some more health regen. Otherwise, I would go into big surplus, which basically whenever my skill's on cooldown, which it's going to be on cooldown a lot because I'm hopping in and out, I get bonus incendiary damage, just more damage. More damage versus more ammo.
So you're leaving a little bit of damage on the table just by not going in the purple tree a little bit. Just
but but I've got so much damage.
Right. Yeah, I know. You got plenty. It sounds like you have plenty going. I'm not knocking the build. I'm just saying. So okay.
In this case, and you like the two weapons I would run on the bear are now in this case last time I ran this build we were actually running takedown. So if you're running a takedown, I would run railguns, and I would run them with the shock modifier, capacitive armature, because there's a lot of stuff with shields in there, and this has just great single point, like single target, big damage. For mobbing, when you're mobbing, you can run the hammer down protocol, the big nukes. And the reason you do this is that this is actually going to pick up damage off of our artifact. And so when we look at the build itself, I'm running that Revolter with action skill start. I'm running a Bloodletter with 2 into Thin Red Line and 3 into Desperate Measures. That's basically the best you can do. It's got splash damage, weapon damage, and mag size. I'm running an Atom Bomb Deathless. And again, that Hammer Down protocol is going to actually pick up radiation damage from this artifact and apply it to those giant nukes. So it's going to get aura damage, it's going to get aura burst damage and aura burst radius from the radiation. It's also going to get, this is also bringing to the table mag size, AoE, which is just splash damage. So again, additional splash damage. But you notice here I have action skill cooldown rate on my artifact. I believe
is that critical? Does that bring a lot to the table for you, or I mean, it sounds like you're not counting on that too much, or are you?
Well, I am. It is I had a comm made that also has action skill cooldown rate. So I could run it on the comm, and there I would be doing it instead of splash damage. Or I can run it on my artifact. I originally thought I was going to have to run it on both in order to get the bear to come back fast enough to have 100% uptime on the shield. But it turned out that I didn't. I only needed it on one piece. And of the two, I prefer to have it here. Because the only thing I would normally have in this slot, like, do I have another Deathless? Yeah, normally I would have radiation damage over here. And you can see you can get up to 48% radiation damage if you only have 2 attributes on your artifact. But I wanted the mag size because I wanted on this build to be able to run some guns that normally aren't Moze guns. You know, the best way to run Moze is to run Moze with splash guns because the splash damage has a chance to refund ammo, which is how you end up in a situation where you don't run out of ammo a lot. But I don't always want to have to run splash damage guns. And in fact, as you're going to see, I've got a Lucian's Call here, which has no splash damage. And I've also got a Butcher here, which doesn't do splash damage. So I wanted to have mag size on both. And that meant running the action skill cooldown on the Deathless artifact. And then I'm running the Cloning Matting Tracker as my grenade, which always basically run it with OGT25 on it.
And I'm sure you're going to talk about it when you get there and you start using it, but is mag size really that important for the Butcher?
It can be, yeah.
Okay.
It's a shotgun, right? This one's a 3x. If you have the 6x, it becomes a problem. Now, the Butcher regens ammo on its own. But the 6x, any kind of 6x shotgun has the chance to run out of ammo.
Right.
So
that's true. That eats up ammo pretty fast.
Like the Trevinator, right? Like I can run out of shotgun ammo on a Trevenator in the first 5 minutes of the Guardian takedown on Moze, like a 1 HP Moze. On a 6x Trevenator. I just can't, I can't, and that's a splash damage gun, right? So that's regenning ammo. I can't regen ammo fast enough as the 6x Trevenator can put it out. But yes, the Butcher does regen its own ammo, so it's not as important on the Butcher. But that is why I'm running a 3x instead of 6x. I have a 6x, the 3x is plenty strong enough, and I don't have to worry about the ammo as much.
Right. You run out of ammo, you run out of damage. So, there's that.
Right. Then you go to 0, which of course is very unpleasant.
Nobody enjoys putting out 0 damage.
Nobody. So we're going to start out here. I've got an Unkempt Herald. I've got a Plasma Coil that didn't get buffed. I just had that. That's normally what's in the build. That's my fight for my life gun. We've got the Lucian's Call, and we've got the Butcher. So those are the guns I'm going to show off on here. You'll be able to see how the Herald does compared to Amara. Here I'm going to have just a massive amount of splash damage and splash damage radius. So, Amara has some splash damage in her skill tree, but nothing like Moze. So you'll be able to see. Now, basically, when I come in here, I'm going to hop into the bear, and then I'm going to hop right back out. And I'm just going to be constantly doing that. So I pop in, set my bear up where I want my bear, and I'm just going to start going ham with this thing. And everything died. And then I'm going to come over here.
One nuke, you're done. I like it.
I'm going to come over here. I'm going to pop up my bear again. I'm going to start shooting things.
Oh.
Yeah.
What happened there?
My own splash damage.
Moze doing Moze things right there.
Moze doing Moze things right there. I mean, as you can see, I can't even see what I'm doing. Like, I don't know where I'm shooting. I'll be honest. I'm just shooting out into the air at the general direction where I last saw bad guys a while ago. I can't see anything. And that's okay. Yep, there it is.
Well, with splash damage, you can be in the general vicinity of the bad guys and still do damage. So that's a good thing with Moze.
Millions and millions and millions of damage. But, yeah, I mean, I don't even know where I'm shooting. I literally don't. And, yeah, whatever. I mean, that's okay. As you can see that gun on Moze puts out a ton of damage. When I down myself, it's because of one of 4 things. One of 4 things, I would argue. Almost all of them have to do with Moze. Because I'll say it again. I've said it I don't know how many times. Moze's worst enemy is Moze. Nobody kills Moze like Moze. I mean, however you want to phrase it. So one of the reasons I might die is because I'm standing next to a barrel, and my own splash damage detonates that barrel. 2, I'm standing too close to something else, and the splash damage bounces back, like there. That's exactly what just happened to me right there. It bounced off that wall, and I got hit by it, and boom.
But you fall out of fight for your life pretty quick, too, like you talked about. You're in fight for your life, but you're out of it relatively quickly.
Even in the takedowns where enemies are squishy, I mean, I can get out. See, that guy closed the gap on me. So if an enemy closes the gap on you, you're in trouble. You got to stay back with Moze. The other thing that can happen is torque cross promotion's not consistent, right? So it has a chance. It has a chance to expand the splash damage radius. So you can get used to shooting. There goes the barrel. That's the barrel one. I'm going to have to kill this guy down here. Where is he? That barrel was a long way away from me, but it doesn't matter because that splash damage. But you can see the build is just very strong. So this gun, though, has no splash damage. So this is the Lucian's Call on this build. And I tested Lucians in this exact same spot last time, so you get a good barometer of what this looks like. And again, So compared to Amara, one, this anointment obviously is better in this particular case for my actual build. So it was a little off on Amara. I didn't need the consecutive hits. I really needed an N2M. This is 5150. This is the perfect anointment for this build. So there's that. But you can see it's pretty strong on here because I still do a bunch. I'm not actually doing any splash damage or AoE damage, but that radiation with that aura that comes from the Deathless, the Atom Bomb Deathless, when the enemies die irradiated like that, they splash damage everywhere, which just ends up being really, really solid. Nice. So that's
good
Lucian's call. Yeah, good crowd control. That's solutions. Last up, let's look at the Butcher here. I'll show you the Butcher. And then I'm going to show you the Devil's Foursome, which will be the funniest part of tonight.
I think the part I'm looking forward to the most, and we talked about that, I saw it talked about in the Discord earlier, so I'm looking forward to see what this does too as well.
Yeah, and I want to say big thank you to English Unit 8 from our Discord. He actually hooked me up with that gun because I had the one with N2M on it, but I did not have one with 5150, and he hooked me up today with a copy of one that he had. So really appreciate that. But he gave me a stern warning, and we'll talk about it in a minute after we take a look at it, that I might regret using that gun on Moze. And so we'll see if that's true. So there was a barrel that got me again, but again, doesn't really matter.
Somebody got me too.
Those barrels, man, they're nasty. Now I'm going to get my fight for my life, though, because basically one shot with the Unkempt Herald just... I mean, it's insane, man. That gun. Especially when I'm shock enraged. I mean, boom. Everybody's dead.
Just like that. 4 guys, no waiting. Boop.
Like, I'll just show you how insanely strong this is. So we got a guy over there. And he's dead. And so are all his friends here in a second. Yep, nice. They're all dead. 2 shots. Everybody's dead. That guy's dead. That guy's gonna take a few more because he's standing behind the wall there, and he's a flamethrower heavyweight, which means he's completely resistant to all of my incendiary damage that I would do. I don't like people who are immune to incendiary damage, which again makes no sense as to why I'm here testing on Captain Trump.
It shows you're bringing other weapons to the other elemental damage though, so that's good.
So here I'm going to go back to the Butcher again. If there's any enemy, nope, there isn't. The Butcher's a lot of fun. I love the sound of it.
Right, so do I.
It's a great sounding gun. All right, so now we find ourselves here. And
so close to Trant. I feel like we're going to do bad things.
Before we go down there, I'm going to show you the Devil's Foursome.
Okay. No enemies to shoot, just the Devil's Foursome itself.
Yeah, well, so this is Devil's Foursome. I'm going to shock and rage myself here. And I'm going to shoot at that wall.
Holy crap. I'm going to have to pick you up.
Yeah, you're going to have to pick me up.
So do that again real fast, because that wall is pretty far away from you.
I'm going to shoot in the air.
Jeez. So, okay. So we're saying it's a dangerous gun for Moze. Actually, dangerous gun for anybody is what we talked about before.
No. No, I used it on Amara and had no problems. In fact, I love it on Amara.
Okay.
But it doesn't matter where I shoot that. The explosion radius from it kills me every single time. So, I make the argument, though, at least you know what killed you.
That's true. That's true.
This gun offers you 100% assurance that you will never be confused about what killed you.
Right. Moze doing Moze things to the extreme right there.
This is about the most Moze gun that you can get.
Absolutely.
You will always be the one who killed you if you use that gun. 100% of the time. All right, so now we are going to go down and wreck Trant. And I'm going to do it with this gun, the Unkempt Herald, I think.
Okay.
I could do it with the plasma coil just to show off how strong the build is. I think I set my record on killing Trant with this build, I believe. But I think I was used on plasma coil. I'm going to use the Unkempt Herald. I still think it's going to go ridiculously fast. So we're going to drop down, hop into my bear, put my bear up right here, throw a grenade, and start going to town on Trant.
And just like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty fast. I didn't even pull out stopwatch for that one. That was pretty fast. We'll go back to the video later and take a look at that one.
So, yeah.
That was a couple seconds.
The build does work. It does work. And it's that combination. And again, Trant is completely immune, I will add, to my incendiary damage. It does nothing to him. At all.
Right, exactly.
So
that was just all the shock damage that you've stacked up.
Yeah. So we'll just for counterpoint to that, we will go over to Grave Ward. Whoa, no! I was going to change my my bear to be in bossing mode. So normally I would change my bear to be in bossing mode. I would put on, something. I would put on the railguns. All right, so that was Lucian's.
Nice, a little bit of damage to him.
Now I'm going to go to Plasma Coil. No, I guess I'm going to Butcher. That's Butcher. That's going to drop him down.
Nice.
Now, this is the Herald.
Holy crap.
And now my bear's going to put in some work for me. And finally, I'll go Plasma Coil here. And the Plasma Coil, even when I don't hit crits, is just going to do some work.
Yeah, Plasma Coil's a strong gun, but that's crit spot right there just waiting for you. Oh, took you out.
I took me out.
Yeah.
The tilted floor, I shot the floor a little bit, which instant death sentence. So that's the build. Those are the weapons. If I had to rate them, Rowan's Call, Butcher, then Unkempt Herald would be my order for favorites out of the buffs. And yeah. How's that Mexican lager treating you on this hot, steamy evening in California?
It was gone a while ago. That's how good it was. It was gone a while ago. Very smooth, very, very fresh, refreshing. It was actually perfect. Perfect for a hot night. Very low ABV. I think it's only got 5% ABV or something like that. So it's a light drinker, a light beer, which is nice for hot nights. I'm probably going to track down another one here in a little bit. But no, it's really, really, really good. Again, it was called Three Creeks Brewing and Tres Arroyos Mexican Lager.
Very nice.
So that's what it's called. How about yours? How was your ESB? Although it stood for something different than it usually stands for.
Well, this is an English-style pale ale, but ESB is, English-style bitters is usually what it traditionally would be called. And this is very much that. It tastes just like an ESB. Very good, but I still have most of mine left. I've been drinking it very, very slowly. In fact, it's maybe slightly a little warm now, but it's very good.
Nice. Although English-style bitters, I don't mean to like with a broad canvas paint and stuff like that, but English-style bitters tend to be okay when they're warmer, though. they don't lose
Yeah.
a lot of flavor. They don't get ruined when they're warmer like some beers do.
No, it's fine at, a little warmer, and I'm not in any hurry to drink it. This is actually, I mean, since when is 5% a low ABV? I don't know. You and I we're
Yes, we constantly talk about that. My reference to ABV and yours are two different levels. That's true.
that's not a low ABV. No, my point is we're both used to things like I like imperial stouts, and of course those are like 9. But this is a 5.3, so it's not a real heavy hitter. It's a nice mid-grade hitter. It's a good slow drinking beer. It's perfect for like a one beer night where I just want to have one nice British beer and celebrate my British heritage or whatever. It's good. I like it.
Your Anglophile leanings.
Yeah, I'm half English, half Swedish, right? So Swedes don't make beer, man. That's not their beer. That's not their drink of choice.
That's true. That's very true.
Right. Absolutely. Well, I think that's it, man. But it was fun. It's been like I said, it's been a minute. It was nice to do this, and hopefully you all enjoy the Moze build. Again, I'll just real quick review it. It's from a pieces standpoint. I'll review it. You need an action skill start Revolter. You're going to need a bloodletter, ideally with the 2 in Thin Red Line, 3 into Desperate Measures, and passives are kind of up to you here. This one's weapon, splash, and mag size. I do recommend the mag size. Cloning Madden Tracker. I mean, what else are you going to run on Moze? Let's be honest.
Right. That's right. That's the default grenade for you. That makes total sense.
Atom Bomb Deathless, and then you want all your guns to have the 50-150 anointment on it. And, several of the guns that got buffed are excellent choices here. And, of course, skill trees in the video, so when we post it on YouTube, if you want to go back and review the skill tree, it's in there. But yeah, pretty cool, fun build. Again, short Circuit Moze, and I think that's it. So I'll let you sign us off, as usual.
All right. Well, thanks for your build, Burt. It does look like a fun build, and you definitely had fun with it. And everybody else, we'll see ya.